Hello everyone and welcome to a Replica Airguns tabletop review of the Umarex-KWA Airsoft Gas Blowback MP7. And I'll classify this gun as a PDW, so a personal defense weapon. You could also classify it as a machine pistol or a submachine gun. Alright, so let's get right to it. Now this is a full-on replica of the real steel H&K MP7 PDW. It's made in Taiwan by KWA for Umarex. Now the reason for that is that Umarex holds the H&K licensing. I don't believe KWA does hold the licensing. So you'll notice when I'm showing you around this gun, it will have H&K markings on it, which adds to the realism, of course. Now it does come in your standard cardboard box. I'm not going to show you inside, but it is foam lined. I do want to show you something here that's of interest. You can see right there, distributed by Umarex USA, but it is made by KWA. I'm not sure if it shows on here anywhere, but on the gun and in the manual it does say that. And interestingly enough, this was actually attached to the trigger guard, so it's obviously a KWA product. In the box I also got some BBs, real small baggie of them, nothing too special here. This tool here goes in the front and adjusts the hop up. It comes in the box as well. You get your manual, of course. You've seen one, you've seen them all. Has the specifications in it, all the information you need. Now I do want to mention the fact that my flash hider is black. It did not come that way, it came orange. It is a metal flash hider. It does come off, but it is glued on. So you may want to heat it up pretty good or just really go to town on it to get it off. It is very difficult. You will need a very firm fitting crescent wrench to get it off, or you'll just mangle it if you don't use the right tools. So you could either paint it on or take it off and paint it while it's off. It's up to you. If you painted it while it was on, you would definitely want to mask off your gun. Don't get any overspray on it. Now again, in Canada we don't need the orange tip, but in the US typically you do. And a lot of our airsoft guns come through the US via Umarex, so we do find that some of our airsoft pistols and rifles and what have you do have the orange tips on them. Can of paint easily takes care of that though. Alright, so let's get into the specifications. Again, this is an airsoft gun, so it shoots 6mm airsoft plastic BBs. It's gas blowback, so it uses either propane or some type of green gas. It's semi-auto and full auto selectable. The magazine does hold the green gas, plus 40 rounds worth of BBs. This gun weighs in at 4 pounds and 7 ounces, which is 2,130 grams. It has a claimed FPS of 370 using .20 gram BBs. The Umarex MP7 has a fully adjustable pop-up front and back sight system. And again, it's a full-on replica of the H&K MP7 PDW, complete with markings and licensing. Now, just like the real MP7, it does combine a lot of polymer in the build materials, but it also has a lot of other metal parts throughout, especially the mechanical parts. It also has a slide-out rear stock and a folding front foregrip built in. You'll find rails top and sides for accessories. So at this point we're going to do a little bit of a comparison to a few other products. The first one is the Umarex Steel Storm, and you'll notice it shares a similar style, shape, and design, and I've had people compare this to the MP7. It's not an MP7, but it definitely takes a lot of its looks from the MP7. Alright, so that's the Umarex Steel Storm. Make sure to check out my videos on this very cool machine pistol. Another submachine gun that I've reviewed is the ASG MP9, and again this gun is made by KWA, and then it is actually licensed by ASG. And again, I'm assuming that ASG holds the license for this gun, but it's made almost identically to the MP7. Quality is identical, build materials, everything about it is very, very similar. They're just different designed guns. But I mean, if you were to shoot these guns side by side, I believe the performance and everything about them would be very similar. So make sure to watch my reviews, my videos, where I show off the ASG MP9. Alright, so at this point we're going to take a little walk around of the Umarex-KWA MP7. Now, most of it, of the external shell, is polymer, but inside there's a lot of metal. This gun has a robust feel. So polymer here. This part here is metal because it's part of the stock, and I'll show that later, but that's part of the stock right there. It slides in and out. We have a metal rail here. We have our foregrip with metal pins and things in it. Nice little rail there. That's just a nice setup there. Very snappy, very tight, very firm, so very high quality. This is our bolt release, and it's ambidextrous. I'll just sort of show you around first before I use it. And we also have our two-stage trigger, so you have a safety there. We have, it is in safe, so we'll leave it in safe right now. We have our safety selector, metal again, full auto selectable, and it's ambidextrous as well. All of these mechanical parts are metal. We have our magazine release here, again ambidextrous. Almost all metal magazine. I'm sure there's some plastic in it, but it's mostly metal. Nice heavy weight. And by the way, the magazine holds 40 rounds. Put your gas in it as well. There's your valve. Your gas goes in the bottom. Again, you have your H&K markings and branding throughout. Get into that a bit more. H&K on the handle, polymer. Again, most of the trigger guard is polymer. Most of the gun is polymer. The flash hider is metal. All the pins and things are metal. The pop-up sights, I'm just kind of covering this whole side. They appear to be metal. And you would adjust this for elevation here. So you've got your pistol sight, then you've got sort of your long range sight there. Got a rail, which is metal. All this is metal rails. You've got your rear sight. Again, pop-up, adjustable for windage here. And it's finger adjustable, which is cool. Can do that anywhere in the field. And it's a peep style sight in the back. You have your charging handle here. Let's just do the bolt. So you'll notice when it's empty, it's going to stay there. But what happens is when you release it, it clicks forward. That's normal. Okay, so let's do that again. There's your bolt. Okay, we are going to just have a little fun here. Very cool. I was just holding the bolt open there. And here is your release for your stock. Goes back. Now you might wonder what this one is for. This is for pulling the stock completely out. I guess you could maybe put different stocks in here. The butt pad is polymer, but it's very nice, very good quality throughout. Push that in, or up and in. Put your stock back in. All these pins are metal. Let's take a look at this side. License trademark of Heckler & Koch, GmbH. Again, you have your ambidextrous selector, bolt release, magazine ejector, more H&K MP7 markings. It's an A1 according to this marking here. I guess there's slightly different versions. Again, more markings here, more branding and licensing. Now I didn't mention it, but you do have rings on both sides for a sling. See, both sides for a sling. Front and back. Okay, you can look down the sights here too. Nice white dots, by the way. Beautiful gun. It's just gorgeous. It really is. I mean, I imagine if I was holding the real MP7, it wouldn't feel any different. There's just so much volume and mass to this gun. It's not overly heavy, but it's just right. It has just a really nice weight, a really nice feel. It's so solid. It's exactly like I would envision the real one being. Now I've never actually held one, so I can only assume, but very nice. There's your flash hider. You can see my handiwork here. I just tried to color match it the best I could. I had to put a lot of paint on it because the red orangey paint that was on it was more like a plastic paint, and it didn't like the paint that I was using didn't like to cover it very well, so I put about 5 or 6 coats on there, and then I had to dry it with a hairdryer for about 2 hours. just to get it to dry because it was so thick. Anyways, got the job done. What can I say? Alright, so at this point we're going to head outside. I'm going to show you my pre-test. Now this is not the actual field test. I will be doing a field test video for you, but I like to do a pre-test just so I can give you my general feedback on how the gun performed. So I have an idea of the basic performance for my tabletop review. So let's head outside and see how well this gun shoots on the chronograph and how well it does from 20 feet out in a semi-rested position. Okay, so we are all set up. I've got my Umarex-KWA MP7 Airsoft Blowback BB submachine gun, and we are going to put, I guess, 5 rounds through the chronograph. First of all, we might as well put this down. Got everything set up. We're going to cock it. Okay, we're going to go off safety. We're just going to do semi-auto first here, and then after the chronograph portion, we will of course go back and shoot some rounds at the target here and see how we do there. Alright, so first up, let's see what this does. I'm expecting in the high 300s. I don't know if we'll hit 400. We are using 0.20 gram BBs, and we'll see how we do here. First shot. 403, not bad at all. 398. 392. 392, very consistent. We'll do the last shot. And nothing fired. Try one more. You know what, I have a feeling. Yeah, sometimes this happens. See my magazine? Didn't quite, something was catching in there. So let's do another shot here. Sometimes that happens if you get a BB binding in there. Alright, 396. So let's head back. We'll fire, I'm just going to do it from 20 feet here for this preliminary test. Maybe for the full test we'll go back to 30, but let's do this at 20 feet, and I'm going to use the stock. I'm going to use the pistol sights for this portion here. Let's take a look. That very nice trigger on this gun. It's very light. You'll see it's got this 2-stage trigger. So, not really sure what happened. It's like a couple were up here and a couple were down there in the same hole. Very strange. We'll have to see. Well, I don't have my close-up camera on here, so I don't really know what happened. But we got 2 there and 2 there, and that's just very unusual. Let's go back and fire. I'm just going to fire 5 more in semi-auto just to see if we can narrow in where this is actually hitting. I'm kind of interested. Okay, let's take a look. Then we're going to go full auto. Alright, so they kind of grouped right in here. I'm shooting a little bit low, well, not that low, and a little bit to the left. Now these sights are fully adjustable. We'll talk about that in the tabletop review, but they are adjustable, so I should be able to get that right in there, no problem. Let's go back and shoot full auto. Right there, full auto. The kick on this gun is reasonable. It's not super heavy, but it definitely has some feel to it. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so let's see if we can get most of these in here. I'm going to try and dump the mag. I did have a full mag. We've shot off, I believe, 15 rounds. There's 40 in here. There should be 25 left. Okay. And we're out. Full mag. The bolt is locked back. No problems there. And it likes this zone here. Pretty decent left to right. Nice narrow channel, and then kind of went up and down. That may have been the velocity dropping off a little bit near the end, but most of them are right in there, so not bad at all. Alright, let's head back in and finish up this tabletop review. Alright, so as expected, the Umarex-KWA MP7 PDW performed pretty decently for me. Really no complaints for this airsoft gas blowback submachine gun. It really did everything I expected it to do. It got actually higher than claimed feet per second ratings at right around 400 with 0.20 gram BBs. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe just a tad high for some close quarter combat situations, but when using the lighter BBs you should be okay. Now there was no problem at all getting through the full 40 round magazine. There was lots of gas there to do that even when shooting in full auto. And I have to say the trigger is very nice and light, crisp with very little take up. Alright, so let's get into some of the pros and the cons. The Umarex-KWA H&K MP7 has a ton of attention to detail. I would expect it to be very difficult to tell the real steel from the Airsoft version when they're side by side. That's how close this gun really is. And again, the full H&K licensing and markings help to pull off the realism. There's lots of metal parts where they need to be, and I would assume that all the metal and polymer parts are pretty much going to be very similar when compared to the real steel version. The MP7 shoots in both semi-auto and full auto, so you have your choice there. That's always nice. And I got right around 400 FPS using the .20 gram BB, so nice high FPS. That's going to get those BBs out at longer ranges. You could probably use this gun outside or inside very effectively. Now in my pre-test, I didn't find it to be overly accurate, but it did seem to stay fairly tight on target. I got a fairly nice pattern even in full auto. Nothing wrong with that. So when I do my full-on field test, hopefully I get similar results, and I will be doing that one out at 30 feet. I like the fact that you have a fairly high capacity magazine considering it's a gas blowback. A lot of them will have 30 rounds. This one has 40 rounds. The additional 10 rounds could make the difference. It has really nice sights, fully adjustable, front and back for windage and elevation. Plus they have the two positions. You've got your pistol sights, and then you've got your taller peep sights for shooting at further out ranges. And everything's already built into the MP7. You have your flip down foregrip and your slide out rear stock. Everything's there ready to go. You can shoot it like a pistol or a rifle depending on the situation. I didn't show you too much how to adjust the hop up. It's very easy. You just put your tool into that front hole just above the barrel, so it's easy to adjust, and that's always nice. Alright, so let's talk about some of the cons. Now this gun, I really couldn't find much fault in it, other than the orange tip, which nobody really likes, but some people just have to deal with it depending on where you're from. That's a bit of a pain. You may want to paint it if you're in Canada. Gun looks a lot better without the orange tip, obviously, so that's a bit of a con for us here in Canada. And there was a fair bit of glue on it, so that made it fairly difficult to remove. You may just want to mask this gun off and paint the tip right on the gun. Now the 400 FPS may just be a little bit too hot for some close quarter combat inside shooting scenarios, so depending on where you're shooting this and the FPS limitations, that may be a factor. But on the plus side, this gun would be right at home shooting outside at longer ranges. Alright, so thanks for watching another Airsoft Replica Airguns tabletop review. Make sure to subscribe before you leave. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Now at this time, the Umarex-KWA MP7 is not in our Canada or US store, but I hope to be adding it to at least one of those stores very soon, so make sure to check out the post over on our website at replicaairguns.com. I'll have some nice high-resolution photos of the MP7 for you to check out over there too in my post associated to this video. So check that out. I'll put the link in the description of this video for you for all that information, and also I'll be adding links to buy this gun as well as it gets added to the store. Make sure to check out my other reviews and posts over replicaairguns.com. And again, check out the Replica Airgun store where we have airsoft, air guns, BB guns, blank guns, accessories there for you. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.